Hi everyone, it's Rax. I have some fantastic news for people that either played Diablo 3 before or people who like the easiest builds to play by far. Maybe you just like it nice and easy, or maybe your hands hurt and you got to play like the minimal input builds. This is absolutely the build for you because in Diablo 3, two of my most popular builds I ever made were the Goblin Blaster 9000 and the Brain Dead build. And they're both based on the same premise. You spin around and destroy everything in the game. So why don't we open a pit 65? This is the level of the pit that unlocks Torment 4, the highest level in the game. This is supposed to be like pinnacle content. This is a level that I think 99% of players will not reach in the expansion. And why don't we see how it does? So here we go. We're going to start spinning, and everything dies instantly. We move at the speed of light, and we AoE pentakill everything. So this is kind of the dream come true. This is exactly the kind of build that people love to use for farming, especially in Diablo 3. It's going to be super godly for absolutely everything. It's going to be speed farming nightmare dungeons, infernal hordes. It's godly on bosses, as you're going to see at the very end. It's completely incredible. It's got to be one of the best builds in the game, period, for any class. Complete and utter destruction. And the nice thing is this build is not too hard to put together, and I'll explain to you how it all works here in a second. There was a lovely video and guide already put out by wudijo. He's one of the rogue class leads. I think he's the Diablo 4 team lead for Maxroll. I believe he's also going to be doing a ton of work for the Spiritborn. He's a good friend of mine and a big fan of his. So I'll put a link to his planner and his video down below. We may learn additional things about the build, so I'm guessing the final build you'll want to use will be on Maxroll at the end. But why don't we jump in here and see how it does on the boss. Then there is a rotation that you can do with all of these different skills to eke out a little bit more damage. Boom! And the boss is instantly killed. Absolutely no chance. Pure destruction. I actually cleared pit 100 with this earlier with a buddy of mine. So it can do the highest pit clear, the hardest content available in the game, and you already saw it completely obliterate the pit tier and world tier 4. Now, I'm going to do something right now that pretty much every content creator should not do, and I'm going to admit that my feelings have been hurt. On some of the previous videos that I've made, sometimes I get comments from people saying, Rax, the only reason why these builds work in the endgame is because you have stuff like this. You have a 2 Greater Affix Mythic Unique with the perfect rune words and the perfect master working. Of course you're going to do this kind of damage. This is very out of touch. Or they'll say, Rax, you have the triple Greater Affix Tyrael's Might. This thing is carrying your damage reduction. You'd get one-shotted if you didn't have this. It's capping your resistances and everything. Or they might say, Rax, you're an absolute piece of shit. You're using a quad GA Doombringer. That thing is so godly. I'll never find anything like that ever. Your videos are trash. So I wonder what would happen if I did the exact same tier and I just took off all the gear and swapped it with a starter dagger. And I wonder what would happen if I actually just got rid of all of my skills too. What if I just got rid of everything and I tried the hardest content again? Because you're right, it's not fair to have these mythic uniques, and there's probably no way that we could do it without them, right? Well, I guess I'm ready to admit all of my wrongdoings here. Here we go. So not only am I not wearing any mythic uniques, I didn't even replace the chest or the hat at all. I'm actually out of charges here. And you can see very easily that you can still obliterate it without a hat, without a chest, and without a second weapon. Gotcha. Okay, anyway, back to the build guide. Let me show you the basic premise of this. We'll have a full guide, I'm sure, on Maxroll right before the season starts. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be playing Spiritborn anyway. But if we go back here, really, it all boils down to one thing, and you might have seen this before with the Heartseeker Rogue. The Heartseeker Rogue was godly with Victimize in Season 4, and then it got nerfed, but then Dioxide, I think, theory crafted a new way to play Heartseeker without Victimize, but now Victimize is back, and I love Victimize. So let's read this. When you deal a lucky hit and you do direct damage to a vulnerable enemy, has a 50% chance, so Blizzard's already confusing the shit out of us. So we have lucky hit and vulnerable and 50% chance, but then we do an explosion, and that explosion at the bottom is increased by 120% of your vulnerable damage bonus. So currently it hits for 5.5 million. So the basic idea here is buff Victimize. So yes, this dancing blade new skill where you spin around and you throw the knives, it's very cute, but this is only a conduit. It's a way for us to proc Victimize. And Victimize scales with vulnerable, much like on the lightning spear, splintering energy scales with critical strike damage. So if we stack vulnerable and the things that buff Victimize, then we're going to crush. So that's why you see in my stats here that we stack a lot of Dex, which will buff Victimize. And if we go down here, we have a ton of vulnerable damage, 3,080 vulnerable damage. And that's pretty much it. Then the next thing, the next step of it is to stack your lucky hit. That's why you see Fists of Fate with the huge lucky hit chance. I would way rather have the GA on the lucky hit. That's why you see this new amazing Mythic Unique with the lucky hit chance with the triple masterwork. And that's really the basic idea of it. Then you take a bunch of other skills that give you, again, additional damage for Victimize. You get Poison, which is with certain other synergies is going to give you damage, and then you have the Smoke Grenade and you have the Caltrops. You can also drink a potion and evade. A lot of these rogue little tricks to magnify your damage, so you can activate a lot of these bonuses, and then as long as you spin, you snapshot those bonuses into the damage until they fall off or whatever, or until you get crowd controlled. You just reapply them. So you apply all your buffs, spin, 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 apply all your buffs, do it again, and that's what allows it to push all the way to pit 100. So that's it, guys. I'll put the link to Woody's video and Woody's planner down there. What I'm playing is essentially identical to what he has as well. We'll have a full guide on Maxroll when it actually comes out, but this is a huge blast from the past for me. I love these kinds of builds for farming, especially because I'm a streamer. Me personally, selfishly, I like just to talk with chat, and here I can just, spin around, not even pay attention, and get everything done. So we'll try to find tons of other godly builds like this for the other classes, but this one in particular definitely made me smile, gave me a ton of nostalgia back from Diablo 3. Thank you.